Hi everyone, so I'm going to go through budgeting in between jobs. Right now I'm not making any income while I wait for my next job to start. So during this time I do want to pay extra attention to my spending. And people have asked me how often I look at my finances or look over my budget. And the answer is usually 2 times per month. And I don't really have a set date when I do it. It's usually when I feel like it, if I realize it's been a few weeks, or maybe I might get a notification for a bill due and I find that it's time for me to look at it. So I set aside about 30 minutes to just look at my budget. And if you want to know exactly the details of how I budget and what all this mess means that you see on your screen in front of you, I made a 20-minute budgeting 101 course video, which was the very first video, full-length video I posted on my channel. So definitely check it out. I recommend you checking it out if you want to learn how to do this as well. I also give a free template in the description if you want to use this for your own personal finance as well. So here's how the setup is. If you've seen my video, you know that I use mint.com on the left and my actual custom budgeting spreadsheet on the right. And a couple things that I want to point out for this upcoming month. I have a big project of fixing my roof, and so I wanted to, and since I left my last job, I wanted to make sure I had enough emergency savings and for if I'm not getting an income, and also for the roofing project, which will be about, it could be about $6,000. And so couple things here that I want to update. Always have mint.com on the left. First step that I go through in my course is to go through updating my accounts. So I haven't updated this since November 6th, so it's been a little bit, and it's due time for an update. So for my LMCU checking, I was able to bring up my emergency savings at $15,000, and also I get 3% back on this account up to $15,000. And for my own personal finance, I like to have my emergency savings. I feel like it's safe at $15,000, especially with a 3% return. So I'm hoping I could keep this balance for a while. And so it didn't really move much. It increased maybe $30 from that insurance. So I'm on my iPad now, so I'm using my Apple Pencil to input this in. And so I'm just going to update that. It's going to be 15,592. And hopefully you guys can see this okay. I'm just highlighting the different cells in there so that it shows correctly. So 15,592, and then for my Capital One checking account, that has decreased because I've been paying off a lot of kind of high credit card bills. So that's went down about 3,000 to 6,427.39. And you can ignore all these scraggly numbers in the bottom. They're kind of just like custom formulas that count sums of things. And so I like to update the date that I updated my numbers. So 11/17 today. Current money and savings. So this doesn't really change all that much. So it didn't really change this month. Paste it there. And I already updated my immediate investments. So that one is $1,400. So I did withdraw some of my investments to beef up my emergency savings and have cash in hand, especially with how crazy the market is nowadays. So I did withdraw from my investments so I can have money left over. Okay, next step is to check out the pending or in progress. So I have a couple in progress tabs here. So I had a big credit card bill, $2,300, and that was the big reason why my checking account went down. So go to transactions and check the in progress tabs to see if those were actually deducted correctly from your account. And this is also a good chance to see if you have any transactions that look wrong or incorrect. I've actually had 2 fraudulent activities that happened last month for me. So you'll go to the transactions tab, and here is a good chance to kind of scroll through and review what the different charges are and make sure they're correct. Make sure you're not getting overcharged. If you do find any fraudulent activity, unfortunately, that is not uncommon. So, but if you have a good bank like Chase or Amex or really any of the major big banks, make sure to call them right away, put a freeze on your card right away, and then they should be able to take care of that, deduct that out from your account. But you want to make sure you call them right away, and they're usually very helpful on that. I'll probably make another video on fraudulent accounts later. So back to the in progress tabs. So you could see here in D2, I have an in progress for my credit card bills. I only had one bill that was $2,379.89, and I just make sure that's being deducted from my account. And it looks like it did here highlighted in the left on mint.com. And so that is correct. And since that was deducted out, and I know in my head I saw that my checking account reduced by around that much, I can go ahead and cancel that out. Sometimes you could put paid or just 0. I like to put paid, and then I could just cancel out that in progress tab. My next step is actually to go to the bills tab. So here you'll go to that bills tab that I actually accidentally went to before and check if there's any new bills that are currently there. So a couple things to note for me. I have an HOA that's due at the beginning of every month. It is a manual bill I put into Mint, but it automatically gets deducted from my account. And so since usually that's due around the 10th of the month, and this might be a little bit confusing to follow, but I really should have put an in progress tab. Now that I think about it, I should have put in progress for that as well. So I'm going to check if that $84.69 was deducted. And so I'll go back to the transactions, and it's okay, you could go back and forth. It doesn't have to be perfect, but see if that was deducted. And so it looks like it was. It looks like it was right here. So for home, that's my HOA, $84.69. So I could go ahead and clear that out and put in paid as well. So now that we're back at bills, I can mark that manual bill for HOA as paid on Mint, so it doesn't kind of yell at me saying something is past due. And I just click continue, and now that's zeroed out. And then for the rest of the bills, I have an upcoming bill for Cox Intranet that I should be looking out for. This is another bill that's automated, and so I don't necessarily need to go into the account and pay the bill right now. I don't need to take any real action, but for tracking purposes, I like to keep track like what is being deducted from my account and make sure I have enough in my account. So I'm going to update on the right side, cell B12 for internet bill for Cox. That's going to be $79.99. Oops. 0.99. And then I'm going to put an in progress tab. And so this is a system that's kind of just been working for me for over 10 years. And some might think it's really manual, but when it comes to your finances, I encourage you to be really, really hands-on. I usually don't like automating things too much. I really am meticulous about my tracking and spending myself. So this is a process that I enjoy doing for myself. And so that tag will be in there. When I come in a few weeks and look at my budget again, I will see this tag, and the first step I will do is check that it has been deducted from my account by the 18th. And if it doesn't, then that's when I know I need to take some kind of action, like what happened, did the payment not go through, am I being charged a late fee? And also, if you are ever charged a late fee and if you accidentally miss a payment, I've definitely missed a payment. Sometimes it doesn't come in directly in Mint. So if you do, right away, right when you notice, call your bank, tell them what happened, let them know you're paying it, and then they'll usually remove that late payment as long as it's under 30 days. And, for me, when I called in, they were like, oh, we see you've had a track record of paying always on time, so of course we can remove this late fee or late notice from you, and it won't go to your credit accounts or anything. So just make sure you're on top of it. Contact your bank right away. So that's another reason why you should, I recommend, look at your finances, look at your budget at least once a month. I highly recommend twice a month. I feel like it's been working with me. 30 minutes each time, twice a month. Okay, anyways, moving on. So the rest of the bills, $76.85. And so I'll put that in. 76.85 for electric. It raised a little bit. It used to be in the 60s, but the weather is getting colder over where I am, so I'm using more electric with the heat. And then just comparing back and forth left and right if things look correct on my budget. So going line by line, let's start with credit bill first. For credit, that definitely hasn't always linked correctly. And so on top of checking with Mint, after that, I recommend going into your actual bank account site. Whether you're using Citi, go to citi.com, or if you're using Chase, go to chase.com, log in, and check if there's any payments due there. And so let's pretend, I'm just going to keep this video a little shorter, and I don't want to share you guys my usernames and passwords for watching me go to those accounts. So let's pretend I went to all of my bank accounts. I have accounts with like every bank, Chase, Citi, Amex. So I go into log into each one of those, and if there's any bills due, I add it here on the right side on B2, and just total it up for my credit bill. So let's pretend I did that, and let's say that no other credit bill is due at this time. So I'm going to leave that as paid. Next, going to the mortgage, 1501.27. So it will update the amount to save and checking later. And you'll know what those mean if you went to my Budgeting 101 course. So now we have that. And then I like to look, just go down the list. Like, okay, HOA, we got that. Dealt with electric bill, we have that upcoming. Water bill, that one usually isn't due around this time. It will usually pop up in the bills, but that's like on a quarterly basis, so I don't have to really worry about that much. MBA, I like to keep that there to remind myself of the great feat I was able to accomplish. So gym, I updated this. I canceled my gym membership because my old job was able to cover it, and I never go to the gym. I just never go to the gym. So this one I'm going to probably replace with something else, but I'm just going to keep at 0. I don't have to pay gym membership anymore since it is canceled. Car property tax, that one I know is not due around this time, so I don't really worry about it. I usually get a notification if it's due. Investments, not contributing to investments at this time. I'm trying to save, so just keep that 0 gift. So the holidays are coming up. I think like for this, I set 400 for something little earlier in the year, but I know I'll probably have to update this for the holidays and Christmas gifts, so I'm gonna increase that. I'm not gonna show you guys how much I'm gonna increase it right now. I'm just gonna leave it as is right now. That's kind of a personal thing I don't want to share at this time, but I'm gonna update that later. But let's just say it's gonna be kept at 400 for now. Internet bill, Cox, so I update that. Monthly subscription, so this is from down here, and I like to check if anything's been updated on my monthly subscriptions. So Ring, I still have a bunch of credit cards that I have. Like, I opened up some pretty hefty credit cards this year. So I think I paid pretty much. I think this one also reflected on my account. And sometimes I like to just leave Mint open because sometimes I just have to check the transaction again. So we'll go back there. So I checked my transactions again, and it looks like I was charged the fee earlier, and so I am safe to put that as paid or 0 now. So do that, put it as 0. Or like to remind myself, actually when it comes to subscriptions, I do like to remind myself how much I did pay and how much it would be if I forget to cancel. And this is one of the cards I plan to cancel so I don't pay this fee ever again. And so I'll put a $6.50. And then it looks like I might have been charged in September, so I'll put that as 2023. And these dates, sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't. Like, you'll see up here the dates, the due dates, they're pretty outdated from previous months, but I keep the actual day number there because the day number usually never changes on my due dates up there. But yeah, so that's sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't. Other subscriptions. So it looks like I'm not being charged anything else. I can go ahead and clear out the Planet Fitness. In case that was my gym, in case I do want to reopen it again, I'll just put A in front so to remind myself how much I paid. I pay for YouTube Premium. That is been pretty worth it for me. I'm on YouTube so much. NVIDIA GeForce Gaming, I started that. I believe I already prepaid everything, so that one I'm actually not being charged at this time, but I will put an A on it again to remind myself that if I do forget again to cancel, I will be starting to pay that much. Oops, oopsies. So, and that will start, I will have to start paying if I don't cancel in May. So I plan to cancel all of these. Amazon Prime monthly, I think I might have gotten charged that again. Let me double check. So I'm checking on my transactions again here. So Amazon Prime monthly, I did get charged for it extra again in November, and that was my mistake. I never use Amazon Prime. I don't even use Amazon Video, so that one stuck up on me. I'm not always perfect on keeping up with these subscriptions, so I will I'm just going to cancel it right away. And so that is a lesson learned. I was thinking I could keep on top of it because if you cancel Amazon Prime early, it ends for you early and you still have to pay the whole full price. So I was thinking I would be able to time myself, like, okay, I'll cancel the day before. I set up reminders on my phone, and I'm usually very on top of it for all the others, but this one, for some reason, I'm not. So I'm just gonna make a note to cancel it, right away after I record this, and then have a reminder that it will actually start charging me again in December if I don't. And so now I realize, like, it's just, if you don't use it, take it as a loss. It's just better to cancel right away, even if you're getting charged, because you will forget, like I did. And I'm gonna make this like bright red so that I will remember to cancel that. So looking at my other subscriptions, I'm not being charged for anything else. You can also check your transactions as well and check if you're being charged for other subscriptions that you thought you closed. So just be sure you are vigilant on that. But this list and this Excel helps. Okay, so we are done with the subscriptions, the yearly renewals, and let's go back up to our list. So for car insurance, that is, I already paid back in October, so I'm good with that. Groceries and food and car, these totals are pretty the same. For the facial, I didn't restart that, but I'd like to once I start my job again, seeing how my budgeting is. But for that, while I'm between jobs, I'm glad I have the option to cancel that. These are old ones, Singing Lessons, Cayman Islands, tax bill. These have been cleared out for a while, so I'll just clean up my spreadsheet a little bit. For the house fix, I thought I had to pay $8,000, but it looks like I might only have to pay $6,000, so I'm going to put that. Florida in December, that trip's not happening anymore, so I'm just going to clear that out. Miss toll. So I think I forgot to put in my toll pass when I was going into one of the tolls, and I thought it was going to send me a bill, but I haven't received that. I think it's because like the tolls, they actually just weren't able to scan me, so I might have gotten a pass on that, and that would be great. And I think that's what happened because it's been some time and they haven't contacted me about that. So I might remove this, but I'm just going to keep it there just in case. I have some wedding expenses that I need to pay for. Right now, I think I owe, for a friend's wedding, I owe maybe $600 to pay her for the lodging, so I'm gonna put that in, and then later on I just put like a $2,000 because that's kind of my budget for my spending on all the festivities that we'll have. And I also put Bonvoy CC spend just so I could have a buffer. This is kind of optional, I didn't really need to put this, but this is what I do not recommend is, but something that has just been a hobby of mine, just collecting credit card points, but you need to make sure that you spend enough money to have those credit card points. And so I have about maybe $1,000 or $2,000 left to spend before, and I need to make sure I spend that before December to get the sign-up bonus, or else, I might have paid $650 for nothing. And so I think I'm on track to spend that with everything else and as that goes forward, but I just want to make sure I have enough money in my bank account to spend that much because I still am trying to live that pay off your credit cards in full every month timeline. All right, so that was kind of a lot. We're at the end of my expenses that I'm expecting to spend for the next month or so. And now we're going to go back to see if this is where I need to take action on things to pay right away. So I'm going back to the top, and this is where I start logging into my other accounts and paying off bills that I see right away, anything that's actually being billed to me. And so for mortgage, it's the later half of the month. I want to pay that today. So I'm going to pay that today. Imagine that, and I pay that off, and I'm going to put, or imagine that I put in the request to send that for payment. I'm going to put an in progress tag there. So next time I will check if that processed. Electric bill, I also want to pay that right away. So usually once I budget, if I see a bill due, like the electric bill, I usually, or a credit card bill, I usually want to pay that right away, and just making sure, of course, I have enough funds to pay it. And okay, sorry, I kind of skipped the step. Before I go into all these paying, before I hit that send for payment button on these accounts, I definitely do want to make sure I have enough on my accounts. And so here is where I kind of go into expanding my spreadsheet. So I could see my current accounts and like current money along with like what's due on the left. So here is where these amount to saves needed and checking is helpful. For needed and checking, this is everything I am planning, pretty much everything I need to have in cash or a checking account right now. And so the total is about $2,000. Quick update, I forgot to format my wedding expenses correctly. So there's going to be expenses that don't fall under these top couple ones where you need cash and checking right away, and they come up sporadically, like the wedding for my friend. I owe her not the $600 in cash that I thought, because I already paid deposit on that. I just owe her $410. So since this is like down here, I made it blue to just make a note to myself that the light blue means I need it in checking right away. And something that I do that's very custom in my own budgeting is I go to, let me zoom out a little bit. I go to the need in checking section, cell F5, and I actually tack on any other blue cells at the end. So I'll edit it and tack it on by adding it. And then, oops, didn't mean to draw. Tagging it on by adding it, and then referencing any extra blue cells. So I'll reference that B28, and then that will update my needed in checking. So this gives a more true sense of what I need in checking. It is not the $1,900, it's actually $2,300. And again, I would recheck, do I have enough in my Capital One or any checking account that I will be used for paying bills? And yes, I do, so I can go ahead and move forward from there. So that's what I forgot to add. Just wanted to add that in just to show another little nuance of what happens if you have an expense that you need cash for, but it doesn't fall into one of these 10 or 11 categories I have. And I also want to make sure it's in the account that I usually pay bills in. So in my checking account, I can pay bills from either of these accounts, but I ideally would like to pay it from my Capital One account because I don't want to deplete my LMCU account under $15,000. So Capital One, I have $6,000 in there. It is more than enough I need in my checking. I like to have a buffer of about at least $1,000 extra, so I have plenty. I'm good to go with that. And then I look at the amount to save. Okay, so everything that I plan to already have. Oh, I also forgot to update my credit card balance. Look at that. So 1 second. Okay, now I'm back at the Mint overview on the left for my credit cards. I totally forgot to update that because that's going to bring down my total balance needed, total amount to save drastically. So before I owed $2,875 and now I just owe $992, but I have a little extra funny thing I have to do for my own personal finance. I have a surplus in one card because I got a refund, and I still haven't used that card to bring that balance back down to zero. So that refund is giving me $114 extra. So that's where this second number comes in, that in this cell F12. So I'm going to just update that first number to the 992 97 and then plus that 114.34 because that is my true credit card total. That's how much I truly will be billed and have to pay. And so that might be confusing, but so my total is actually $1,107 that I will be owing in the coming month. And so once I get that bill, I'll pay it off. I don't usually pay it off any sooner than that unless I know my credit utilization is going to go higher. Okay, now we can concentrate on expanding this and also updating that. Updating that date there. All right, so now we have the amount to save total updated to $12,000, and I just want to make sure that I have this available in any of my accounts. So current money, LMCU, savings, and also immediate investments. Ideally, if I know it's coming up soon, I want the total of like my cash in hand or total checking to be over 12,000. So it's 22,000 is a total I have, and then I'm expecting to maybe pay up to 12,000. So that seems like a huge number. Where is that 12,000 coming from? So as you can see, the 6,000 in roofing is definitely contributing to it. And this is what I like to go in my head, like, okay, that's only 6,000 though. Where else is that other 6,000 going? So I like to also kind of just highlight all of the other accounts and see at the bottom, like this sum, 2,000, so that's $3,000 that I'm gonna owe. And then where's that other 6,000 coming? So that's, then if I total up the rest, it's 2,600. So what that means is, so that totals up to 12,000. So sometimes I see a big number and I'm like, whew, where are those charges coming from? Like the roof is only 6,000, that's only half. But then you'll see if you just total everything up, it will really open your eyes and make you realize how much these like seemingly little things, little expenses here and there, like, oh, $400 for a gift, oh, $400 for grocery, oh, $400 for entertainment. That's over, like, that's almost $1,500 right there. So they do add up. And so I just got to check that to make sure that's also correct. I usually it pretty much always is, but that just helps open my eyes, like, man, maybe I should cut back more in other areas. What areas can I cut back in? Like, or I'm gonna have a lot of expenses coming up this week, so maybe next month I will look into making my groceries and entertainment lower as well. And I have been consciously making an effort to lower my groceries and my entertainment during this time of no income I have. So I know like consciously I'm doing that. I'm cooking more at home and not going out as much, but I like to keep things more conservative on my budget a lot. So I'm not going to reflect like, oh, I've only been paying maybe like $300 a month on groceries, for instance. I'm just going to be conservative on my budget. So I have a buffer in for things to kind of be over if they need to be. But with all that, I just want to make sure this 12,000 is less than the cell J2 of 22,000. I want to make sure this 1.9 or 2,000 F5 is less than particularly my Capital One account J4, which is a 6,000. So everything checks out. And once I am at this place, I am safe to go ahead and go into my accounts where particularly the ones in blue, and go one by one, log into those accounts and start paying those bills. I do not want to do that if any of those numbers don't check out. That's where I want to pause and be like, okay, I can't pay all my bills at this time. I have to move money around or get money from someplace else. And then I'll probably check, once those transfers are done, I'll probably check my accounts again right away. But so that's how my budgeting process works. But in this case, I am all in the clear. I am getting a little bit of a sticker shock seeing that my like upcoming monthly expenses in the next 2 months are over $10,000. That usually never happens. But I am safe because I know these expenses were coming up. I saved for them. I am ready to pay my bills now. So let's pretend I went and paid my bills and I put in those requests to send for payment. I click the button, send for payment. It's in process right now, and it will take a day or two. Since the weekend's coming up, it might take a couple days until Monday. So I will put in progress to everything that I have, well, in progress right now. So that would be the mortgage, that would be the electric bill, that would be the internet bill, or anything that's I know automatically coming up, the internet bill. For the gift, that's more flexible. I haven't purchased anything yet, so I'm just gonna keep that blank. What else? And then that's also the wedding stuff. Okay, and I haven't been charged for the the housing fix yet, so I'm gonna just leave that just not in progress yet until I get charged for it. Okay, and at this point, I am pretty much ready to, if it's just like a quick look at my budget, touch up on things, be current, and make sure my bills are paid, I usually log off. This is the end of my budgeting phase. Sometimes I look at my other projects in these other, I'll call them widgets that I have, other financial goals that I have, and I'll plan for those. But in this case, the other thing is I just wanted to, I have more actual hard cash in my wallet, so I have to update that. So it will give me a reminder if I need cash for something and it's not enough in my accounts, I can always just deposit. So I think I have $300 cash in my wallet right now, and this is always an estimate because I don't know the cents or all my quarters laying around, but definitely $300 in cash. For the roof, I also want to close this out because I thought I would be able to get my roof paid for. I heard that you could, but it isn't gonna happen. Allstate doesn't replace your roof just because of old age. There has to be actual damage, and if you do claim, you have to pay up to the deductible, and my deductible is high, so I'm not even gonna put in a claim. I'll probably make another video about home insurance and like car insurance as well, and best ways to handle that, because sometimes it's worse if you open a claim for anything. So just double checking other things here. And I think I'm good. I don't really need to look at my other projects right now. It looks like I checked off my budget. Things look in line and what I expect, and we are good to go. Thanks for joining me on my budgeting, my bi-weekly-ish budgeting during my no income kind of in between jobs scenario here.